Did you know that your morning habits might be distancing you from God without you realizing it? Prepare yourself for a shocking revelation. In today's video, we're going to uncover 13 morning habits that don't please God and that many of us practice daily without knowing. This content promises to transform your spiritual life in just a few minutes. Discover how seemingly harmless actions can sabotage your faith. Imagine a quiet morning where the first rays of the sun peek through the window, bathing everything in a golden and promising light. In this peaceful setting, you find yourself at the edge of the bed, with thoughts still tangled in the remnants of sleep. A choice must be made, to take a moment to give thanks or to dive directly into the demands of the day. Here lies a divine opportunity, often neglected. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. Psalm 107:1. This verse is not merely a suggestion. It is a call to recognize God's incessant goodness in our daily lives. When we neglect this moment of gratitude, we are not just omitting a healthy practice. We are forgetting to acknowledge the one who is the source of all goodness and mercy. C.S. Lewis pointed out the importance of maintaining a heart of gratitude. He noted that a proud man is always looking down on things and people. And of course, as long as you are looking down, you cannot see something that is above you. When we neglect gratitude, we allow pride and self-focus to cloud our vision, preventing us from seeing the divine in our everyday lives. Let me invite you to a simple but transformative practice. Tomorrow morning, take a moment to sit in silence. Think about your blessings, no matter how small. Give thanks for the air you breathe, the light you see, the bread you eat. Give thanks for another day, and observe how this small act can change not just your day, but potentially your entire life. When was the last time you truly stopped to give thanks for something you consider small or routine? How did it influence your day? Share your experience in the comments. When you open your eyes in the morning, you face a critical decision: to welcome the day with gratitude or to start with complaints. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, advises Philippians 2:14. This verse is not just an instruction for harmony, but a principle for cultivating personal peace and alleviating the heart from the burden of negativity. Those first words or thoughts have the power to shape our state of mind. Psychology confirms that starting the day with a negative attitude can harm not only our mood, but also our mental health and efficiency throughout the day. C.S. Lewis described the struggle against negativity when he wrote about how the battle is between faith and reason on one side, and emotion and imagination on the other. Choosing gratitude over complaint is a battle we must fight daily, deciding whether to let our emotions drag us into negativity or rise above. Imagine a scenario where each morning begins not with laments, but with a recognition of the new opportunities each day brings. This simple act of choice has the potential to completely transform our daily experience, elevating our perception of life and strengthening our relationships. Even Jesus, facing his greatest challenge, chose to submit to the Father's will without complaints, demonstrating unwavering faith in the divine plan despite the imminent pain. Not valuing the small joys of everyday life is ignoring the subtle blessings that God scatters along our daily path. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. This verse urges us to practice constant gratitude, recognizing and appreciating each moment, even the most trivial ones. By disregarding small pleasures like the warmth of the sun on skin or a child's smile, we close our eyes to God's love. These moments, although small, are fundamental to our emotional and spiritual health, as psychological studies link gratitude to greater happiness and life satisfaction. C.S. Lewis wisely noted that it is in the small things where God delights to show his glory. By neglecting these small joys, we miss out on the profound truth that God is present in every detail of our lives, working quietly yet powerfully through them. Imagine starting each day by observing. Valuing these small graces could change your life experience. Jesus himself appreciated and highlighted small gestures and encounters, showing that the divine often reveals itself in what is simple and humble. Therefore, I challenge you not only to pass by these small joys, but to recognize them as the divine gifts they are. By doing so, we strengthen our spiritual resilience and find joy even amid the pressures of daily life. Ignoring someone in need not only contradicts the commandment to love our neighbor, but also obscures the light of compassion that should guide our daily steps. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. This verse is not a suggestion, but a direct call to action, a commandment to extend a helping hand to those in need. By indifferently passing by someone who is suffering, we deny one of the most fundamental principles of the gospel. This indifference can harden our hearts and divert us from the path God has laid out for us, leading to desensitization and emotional isolation. C.S. Lewis captured the essence of this when he said, "Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained." True love, according to Lewis, demands action, not just sentiment. It requires us to act when others are in need, moving beyond mere words to deeds. Consider the parable of the Good Samaritan, a man who, unlike the others, did not ignore the victim by the roadside. He not only stopped, but also tended to the stranger's wounds and provided for his recovery. Jesus used this story to illustrate the true meaning of loving your neighbor. Luke 10:30-37. Our lives are full of Samaritan moments. Small and large opportunities to extend a hand arise daily. Each decision to help is an affirmation of our faith and a test to the love of Christ that lives within us. These acts of kindness echo into eternity, bringing light not only to those who receive the help, but also to our own souls. Therefore, as we begin each day, let us commit to not passing indifferently by those in need. Let us be ready to extend a hand, aware that each gesture of love is a reflection of God's love for us. Procrastinating our responsibilities or moments of communion with God is a violation of the principle found in Proverbs 13. 4. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. When we delay commitments or prayers, we not only disrespect our own time and that of others, but also fail to cultivate the discipline that strengthens our faith and reduces our stress and anxiety. Imagine yourself as a farmer who postpones the sowing. As days go by, the seeds remain in their sack, never finding the fertile soil. The result, a lost harvest, not for lack of resources, but for lack of action. Similarly, every moment of procrastination is a lost, fertile ground where we could have cultivated something valuable. C.S. Lewis touched on the dangers of procrastination and idleness, warning that the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings. Procrastination is that gentle slope that slowly but surely leads us away from our purpose and our God. This habit of delaying can be especially detrimental when it comes to our spiritual life. The moment of prayer is an opportunity to realign with God, a chance to lay down our anxieties and receive His peace. Cast all your anxiety on Him, because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Ignoring these moments is ignoring the care that God is ready to offer. Speaking ill of others is a poison that, once released, spreads quickly, destroying relationships and poisoning environments. As warned in Ephesians 4:29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Starting the day with gossip or criticism not only corrupts our own heart, but also devalues those around us. C.S. Lewis, in discussing the power of words, remarked, "The cruelest lies are often told in silence." Speaking ill of others, whether through direct words or silent judgments, is a form of cruelty that can tear apart the fabric of community and trust. Imagine a morning where, instead of words of encouragement, you choose to spread malicious comments. Each negative word is like a stone thrown into a tranquil lake. The ripples spread, affecting everyone within reach. This act not only distances others, but also reflects a deep disconnection. It also reflects a deep disconnection from the divine purpose for our words and actions. Jesus called us to be the light of the world, reflecting truth and love in our speech and actions. By speaking ill of others, we deny this call and contribute to darkness instead of dispelling it. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. James 3:10. Therefore, let us strive to ensure our words are instruments of blessing, not cursing. Impatience in morning interactions can undermine the harmony and love that should characterize our homes. As taught in 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient, love is kind. When we allow impatience to dominate our family moments, we not only contradict this commandment, but also plant seeds of discord and discomfort in our most intimate environment. Imagine a typical morning where the pressures of time and daily obligations press upon each family member. In this scenario, a harsh word or a hasty response can deeply hurt those we love. These are the moments when the virtue of patience is most needed and paradoxically often hardest to practice. C.S. Lewis spoke of the daily challenge of living out our faith in close relationships, where he said, "The home is the place where the holiest grow holiest." It is in our closest relationships that our patience is most tested and where our love has the greatest opportunity to reflect Christ. Neglecting physical health is neglecting a divine mandate, for our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, as taught in 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. This neglect is not only a lack of respect for ourselves, but a disrespect for God's work in us. Psychologically, not caring for our bodies can lead to low self-esteem and reduce our daily energy, affecting our ability to fully live the life God has given us. C.S. Lewis emphasized the importance of bodily health in spiritual life. He stated that you don't have a soul, you are a soul, you have a body. Taking care of our bodies is, therefore, an integral part of caring for our souls and living out our spiritual calling. Imagine that each morning is a new opportunity to honor God with your body. Each choice, from nutrition to physical activity, is not just an act of self-care, but an act of worship. Neglecting this responsibility can not only diminish our effectiveness in serving others. Flooding your mind with negative news upon waking can instill a persistent state of fear and anxiety, contrary to the exhortation of Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. By saturating our first moments of the day with the world's turmoil, we invite unrest to settle in our hearts and minds. We impair our ability to live according to the peace that Christ offers. C.S. Lewis observed that what you see and hear depends a good deal on where you are standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are. When we consume negative news excessively, it shapes not only our perspective, but also our character, leading us away from the peace and joy that God desires for us. Imagine starting each day not with reports of disasters and despair, but instead with words of hope and affirmations of faith. Each morning, by choosing what we fill our minds with, we are essentially choosing the direction for our spirit and the emotions that will color our day. Scripture reminds us that a cheerful heart is good medicine, Proverbs 17:22. But a crushed spirit dries up the bones. By consciously choosing to step away from excessive consumption of negative news and focusing on content that builds and restores, neglecting morning moments with family can slowly erode the foundations upon which our homes are built. Ephesians 6:4 instructs us, "Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord." This implies not only guidance and discipline, but also the continual offering of our time and attention, crucial elements for strengthening family bonds and nurturing the emotional and spiritual well-being of our loved ones. C.S. Lewis highlighted the profound impact. He stated, "The homemaker has the ultimate career. All other careers exist for one purpose only, and that is to support the ultimate career." Our role within the family is not sundry to our other responsibilities. It is central to our mission as followers of Christ. Imagine a morning where, instead of rushed and hurried goodbyes, there is a reserved space for conversations, for listening and being heard, for sharing concerns and joys. Each such moment is a seed. Stinginess, a heart closed to the needs of others, is a direct barrier against the generosity God calls us to practice. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. 1 Timothy 6:10. This warning not only highlights the spiritual dangers of greed, but also reminds us of how generosity can free our souls and truly connect us with the community and with God. C.S. Lewis spoke against the dangers of holding tightly to our possessions, suggesting that nothing that you have not given away will ever be really yours. True ownership, according to Lewis, comes only through the act of giving, which aligns us with the generous nature of God. Imagine a life where every opportunity to give is seen as a burden, not as a blessing. This perspective not only impoverishes those in need of help, but also the stingy person. Allowing discouragement to dominate your mornings is to walk in the opposite direction of the encouragement found in Romans 12:12. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. When discouragement embraces us early in the day, it can overshadow the light of hope that God has instilled in each of us, potentially leading to a persistent depressive state. C.S. Lewis, in his reflections on suffering and perseverance, noted that hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Discouragement can be the enemy of this destiny, pulling us away from the path God has set before us. Imagine starting the day with a heavy curtain of discouragement covering your heart and mind. This veil darkens the view of blessings and possibilities that each new day brings. Psychologically, we know that this state can reinforce negative thought cycles, affecting our mental and emotional health and hindering our ability to see and respond. Not adequately planning the day is to devalue the precious gift of time that God has given us. Ephesians 5:15-16 warns us, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil." When we fail to organize our day, we often end up wasting opportunities that God places in our path for growth, service, and witness. C.S. Lewis often spoke about the importance of living intentionally. He noted that the present is the point at which time touches eternity. To plan our day is to engage with that moment where our actions have eternal significance. Imagine yourself as a builder tasked with constructing a house without a clear plan. The materials remain scattered, and the work becomes chaotic and inefficient. Similarly, without planning our day, our activities can become disorganized, and our ability to fully accomplish what has been entrusted to us is compromised. Superficial relationships directly contradict Christ's command. "My command is this: love each other as I have loved you." John 15:12. When we choose superficiality over depth in our relationships, we not only deny Christ's command, but also the possibility of experiencing and sharing the love he exemplified. C.S. Lewis emphasized the importance of deep relationships, stating that friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, "What, you too?" It is in the depth of our relationships that we find true connection and mutual support. Imagine a tree with shallow and fragile roots. It may appear strong at first glance, but it lacks the necessary foundation to withstand storms. Similarly, superficial relationships may seem sufficient in calm times, but fail to provide support and comfort when most needed. This superficiality can lead to loneliness and isolation, preventing us from achieving the true fellowship that reflects God's desires. Neglecting spiritual disciplines like meditation, prayer, and Bible study is a direct rejection of the appeal in 2 Peter 1:5-7, which exhorts us to supplement our faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with perseverance, and perseverance with godliness. Without regular practice of these disciplines, our faith can become stagnant and our connection with God weakened. C.S. Lewis compared the spiritual life to a long and sometimes arduous journey. He reminds us that relying on God has to begin all over again every day, as if nothing had yet been done. Spiritual disciplines are the means by which we renew our reliance on God daily. Imagine a plant that is never watered or exposed to sunlight. Over time, it begins to wither and eventually dies. Similarly, our spiritual life requires constant nourishment through practices that connect us with God and reinforce our faith. Psychologically, regular engagement in spiritual practices strengthens resilience. Failing to utilize the gifts and resources God has given us is a failure to fulfill the divine expectation revealed in the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30. This parable is not just a story, it is a command to act with responsibility and purpose. Wasting our talents and resources not only dishonors God, but also deprives us of reaching our full potential and contributing effectively to the community in God's kingdom. C.S. Lewis wisely noted, the proper rewards, they are not simply tacked onto the activity for which they are given, but are the activity itself in consummation. Using our talents is a reward in itself, fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. Imagine that every talent and resource you possess is a tool given by God, designed to build, create, and cultivate good in your life and the lives of others. When these tools are left unused, the world loses some of its brightness. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, leave a like, and let's move on to the next video.